According to recent national studies, vaping is on the rise. Along with that, health implications for kids.
Bad news for swimmers. Butte's new outdoor pool will be closing early this summer. I'll tell you why.
Good morning, Southwest Montana. Just ahead of 6:30 on this Thursday. Chet Lehman with you here. Missy is off today. Matt Elwell has our forecast in a moment. Meantime, our top story this half hour. Vaping is a growing problem all across the country, and new reports are showing just how dangerous it is. Teen's Cody Boyer has more on what parents need to keep an eye out for.
For many, vaping is the new, shinier, high-tech, novel way of smoking, and it comes in many shapes and sizes. Take a look at some of these. This, for example, is a standard school backpack. Things like this vape could fit right in there, no problem. This one, called the Drop, also in there, and that's another one that comes in many shapes, and they all have many different flavors. Others, like the Jewel, are as small as a flash drive. That can fit right in your pocket.
It's not a safe alternative, and that's the way it's been marketed.
Smoking, in one way or another, has been around for decades. Cigarettes are still a thing, with butts still easily found on the ground, too. This newer trend, vaping, comes in a shinier package.
It's a concern nationwide. As I meet with prevention specialists across the country, vaping is always a topic.
Rick Gale is the state chairman for the Montana Elks Association Drug Awareness Program. He, along with pediatricians at Bozeman Health Deaconess Hospital, have seen this fad come close to home.
It's a public health threat. I mean, this is what we're hearing from the CDC, from the Surgeon General, that it is a public health issue that we need to address.
The puffs of vapor aren't happening only here. Recently, a report from the Minnesota Department of Health found 4 kids were checked out for pulmonary disease connected to vaping. Even in the nicotine-free liquid, their findings, along with Gale's and the hospitals, found some disturbing ingredients.
Metal particles are found in vape steam. Vape contains formaldehyde or embalming fluid. The marketing is incredible, what's being done by the tobacco industry.
Reports have found younger bodies not able to cope with nicotine addiction. Others, explosions causing injuries. And in some cases, smoking other things besides tobacco. According to studies like Minnesota's, 1 in 5 kids vape regularly. Some even as young as 12 or 13. A stat Gale hopes will send a message to parents soon.
There's some responsibility there for our parents, and there's a lot that we're doing across the state of Montana.
In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
Other headlines this morning, just in time for back to school. Gallatin County Health Department is hosting immunization clinics to make sure kids are up to date on their shots for the coming school year. 4 different shots required for kids in kindergarten through 12th grade. Clinics are going to be held in Belgrade, Bozeman, and Three Forks. Shots will be given whether or not you have insurance. But if you do have insurance and your child's immunization records, you're asked to bring information for both of those with you. We will have a list of where those clinics are when the shots are being offered by visiting our websites. 6:32, Matt, it is feeling a little bit like back to school. The temperature's a little cooler than I would expect to see.
I don't think the kids are quite ready necessarily yet.
I'm sure.
At least my kids aren't.
I'm sure that's true.
Yeah. Mom and Dad, ready. Yeah.
Let's make it happen, yeah.
The weather is actually cooperating pretty nicely this morning. We had a little cloud cover. Temperatures a few degrees warmer today than it was at this time yesterday. Right now 54 in Belgrade, 48 in West Yellowstone, mainly because we had cloud cover for most of the evening. Even a couple of drips and drops in southwest Montana overnight. Nothing substantial. The afternoon could bring some scattered thunder showers back to the area as our temperatures top out into the mid to upper 70s. We do have warmer weather on the way. We're going to break that down for you coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. 6:33 now. Courtroom was packed with extra security yesterday as a Superior man entered a not guilty plea to a charge of assaulting a 13-year-old boy. Kurt Brockway is accused of slamming the boy to the ground, fracturing his skull because he said he didn't take his hat off during the national anthem that was being played before a rodeo last week. MTN's Ken Lutzen has been covering this story since day one and was at the hearing.
We are, Your Honor. May I approach?
39-year-old Kurt Brockway made his district court appearance in a room filled with extra law enforcement. He pled not guilty to slamming a minor to the ground for reportedly disrespecting the flag by not taking off his hat during the national anthem at a rodeo.
What is your plea? Not guilty, Your Honor.
Not guilty plea is entered.
The boy received skull fractures and was life-flighted to Spokane for treatment.
Given the fact that I have to have a neuropsych completed in this,
Brockway's attorney added he will seek a psych evaluation for his client, who suffers from a traumatic brain injury. Moments after Brockway pled not guilty, he was escorted out of this fire hatch, which according to the Mineral County bailiff is not normal procedure. But this is because the defendant and the courthouse employees have received multiple death threats.
The increased security was just due because of the numerous amounts of emails and telephone calls, some that were threatening, some very obscene that were received.
Montana Highway Patrol, Mineral County Sheriff's Office, and State Fish, Wildlife, and Parks were all on scene to provide assistance and additional security for this case. Brockway was released on his own recognizance. However, District Judge John Larson reinstated his probation from an assault with a weapon case back in 2010, where Brockway pulled a gun on a family of 3 and threatened to kill them. In those terms, Brockway is required to wear a GPS device, which, according to his attorney, is already on and working.
What I'd call it is a house arrest with the exception of court appearances, doctor's appointments, and coming to see me.
Reporting in Superior, Kent Lutzen, MTN News.
Kent tells us reporters were told before the hearing they would be locked in the courtroom until Brockway had left the building and was in a secure location. Brockway is scheduled to appear back in court on October 23rd. In other headlines, a Missoula man accused of hitting and killing a University of Montana graduate with his car last summer while under the influence now says he's guilty. 26-year-old Daniel Grady changed his plea to guilty in connection with the death of 22-year-old Rebecca Romero. Last June, dispatch received a call of a possible fatal hit-and-run crash near Lowell School. Romero was found dead at the scene. Officers tracked down Grady, and when they tested his blood, came back positive for cocaine, Valium, and marijuana. Under the deal, Grady will serve a total of 10 years in prison. Well, it's an old phone scam that's showing up once again here in Montana. The Gallatin County Sheriff's Office says recently it has received lots of reports of scammer calls requesting Social Security information. Call is a recording saying a person's Social Security number has been suspended and then tells the person on the receiving end to press 1 to speak to an authorized Social Security representative.
Most importantly, with Social Security numbers, I mean, we emphasize never ever give your Social Security number to anyone, regardless of what they say, what they're asking, whether they're saying that a family member is in jeopardy, any of that stuff, never give your Social Security number out.
Also, the best way to avoid scams is to ignore calls from unknown numbers. If you do pick up a call from a scammer, hang up immediately. Gallatin County Sheriff's Office encourages people to report these calls should you get one. Also, fire officials say they're confident the Bisco fire north of Missoula will not grow significantly, even though the weather is supposed to get hotter. However, they have a plan in place in case that does happen. Senator Steve Daines attended a briefing at the incident base for an update on firefighting progress and what's expected in the near future.
We've got excellent leadership working together, and consequently that, combined with we've had a few breaks here in the weather, that rain we had a few days ago, means that this fire that could have been a catastrophic wildfire looks like now it's going to be contained. We're not going to see loss of structures, and the forecast looks very good.
By the way, the Bisco fire is burning just over 450 acres in the Rattlesnake Recreation Area. Nearly a month since that fire sparked, it is almost 50% contained. Firefighters have now completed fuel breaks and an indirect line to the east to secure a border towards the Highway 200 corridor. Also, in response to the detection of chronic wasting disease in the Libby area, Montana Department of Fish, Wildlife, and Parks is selling 600 antlerless white-tailed deer licenses. The special CWD-B licenses will go on sale starting at 8 o'clock on August 19th. Select providers in Northwest Montana. Hunters can purchase licenses online at FWP's website at 10 a.m. 2 licenses can be purchased per person, and at that time, you'll receive more detailed information on rules and restrictions. The hunt will take place at the same time as the archery and general hunting seasons, and follow the same regulations for dates, weapon restrictions, and access. CWD, or chronic wasting disease, is a progressive deadly disease affecting the nervous system of mule deer, white-tailed deer, elk, and moose. Well, weather was a factor in the decision to close down Butte's new outdoor pool earlier than expected. TN's John Amey has the latest on the Ridgewaters pool.
Butte's outdoor pool at Stodden Park will be closing out its summer season early this year.
Did we have summer?
Good question. Though Butte's summer did not always feel like summer this year, it was not the weather that forced management to close the Ridgewaters pool early this year. It was staffing. Since many of the young lifeguards will be returning to school, instead of closing on Labor Day, the last day will be August 25th.
One priority is to make sure that the safety of the patrons that come in here, and if we don't have adequate staff to man the deck with lifeguards, I don't want to open the pool.
Poor weather this summer did force some temporary closures.
We had a ton of weather issues that we never did have last year. I think we shut down 2 times last year for weather, and we've been shut down over 2 handfuls this year.
Despite a summer of setbacks and delays, management here at Bridgewater says the new pool is operating perfectly, and they will be back next summer.
Facility's been running just like it was brand new, just like last year, and no, we've had 0 problems with the facility, so we are good to go there.
In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
John tells us the splash pad at Clark Park and the wading pool at Chester Steel Park, both in Butte, will be closing that same day as well. We're going to take a short break here on Montana This Morning.